Hey, welcome back to the Big Ranch Show. Thank you for joining me. Now, today we're going to talk about what happened yesterday involving Donald Trump. Now, I'm not going to get into any speculation here. I'm just going to give you the information that I have. Okay? First off, the attempted shooter, or who would have been the would-be shooter, his name was Ryan Wesley Roth. His last name is spelled Routh. Now, first off, let's be very clear. Trump's life was not in danger, and there was no attempt on his life yesterday. But there could have been had the shooter not been discovered when he was discovered. From according to things I've seen here on YouTube and releases from different law enforcement, Trump was about on hole 5, and apparently the guy was over closer to like hole 6 or 7, which was about 300 to 500 feet away from where Trump would have been. Now, luckily, a Secret Service agent did his job and noticed the barrel of a gun coming through a fence, and they were very quick to react. Apparently, there was a car very close by. The guy was able to retreat, left some of his belongings behind, but got in a car and drove off. Interestingly enough, there was somebody that saw the guy running and took a picture of him and sent it to law enforcement, and law enforcement was quick to respond, and they flooded the highways around this area with police, and they quickly subdued the suspect, who was taken in basically with nothing eventful taking place. In fact, the guy, when they arrested him, seemed confused and didn't really seem to understand why he was being stopped, which is kind of weird. Now, Mr. Roth, according to phone records that the FBI has obtained from T-Mobile, and yes, he used his actual phone that he would use on any other day of the week, apparently, that he's had since at least December of last year. And they were able to find that phone via a post of his on Twitter a while back that left his telephone number. And they tracked it, and it was the exact same phone he was holding. So it's not crazy to think that these people are out there. But let's talk about the shooter himself. The shooter himself has a long rap sheet prior to yesterday. In 2002, he was convicted of having a weapon of mass destruction and death. According to one report I saw, that was because he had obtained somehow or another a fully automatic machine gun. And in 2002, of course, he was found guilty of possession of that item, because that is a felony in the United States. Which is interesting, is in the United States, you may not be able to buy a fully automatic gun, but unless you're like a dealer of some sort, from what I have heard. But you can still buy things to make your semi-automatic weapons function as if they are automatic weapons. So I found that interesting. Now, in 2016, this man said he voted for Donald Trump via his social media. Now, in 2020, he changed his tune a little bit, right? In 2020, he decided he would vote, or he was supporting Tulsi Gabbard. Of course, she didn't win any nomination for the Democratic Party for president or anything like that, so I'm not sure who he voted for that year. But let's put it this way. In 2024, we know who he was supporting. He said in social media that he was supporting Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley. He wanted them to be a ticket. He wasn't supporting the Democrats this year. And at least that's who he was supporting in the primaries. He hasn't shown any support for Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. So anybody telling you that he's some crazy liberal, I don't think they're correct. Now, like I said, I'm not going to speculate. This is what it is, right? There's a crazy guy with a gun trying to take out somebody that he wanted to kill. Now, why did he want to do this? We don't know. The guy did have a lot of support for Ukraine. He's actually fought in Ukraine, apparently, or at least tried to go fight in Ukraine. tried to recruit other people to come join him. He actually did an interview in Romania at one point in 2022 with local media there in Romania about what he was doing over in the Ukraine. So it's very possible that this guy was put over the edge by that, but we don't know that, right? What we do know is the man has a rap sheet that goes on for miles. We know he's been convicted of owning a weapon of mass destruction and death. And we know that for 12 hours, based on phone records, that he sat outside that golf course for 12 hours until Trump arrived. And then, what I find interesting, though, is that he was there that whole time, and there was no, you'd figure there'd be a sweep of any area close, but I don't know how the Secret Service functions. You figure they would have caught him a little sooner than they did. But as much as I hate Donald Trump, I am glad the Secret Service did their job. Because that's not how we solve our political disagreements in this country. We solve our political disagreements at the ballot box. Now, there are going to be people that are going to think and say things like, oh, it's a liberal, oh, it's a far-right conservative. The fact is, Trump has enemies on both sides of the aisle. There are Republicans that support Ukraine's independence and do not support Russia. There are liberals that feel the same. There are people on the far left and the far right that he is disenfranchised in some way. Last week, he pissed off the far right when he admitted that he lost the election. One of the head people, Mr. Fuentes, who has been a big supporter of him with him and the Proud Boys, of pushing the big lie, pushing that Trump won the election, it was stolen from him. And there are a lot of people on that side of the world right now that are pissed. So I do believe we need to up our security. Not just for Donald Trump, but for Joe Biden and for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and even J.D. Vance. Because at the end of the day, this is no different than terrorism. It's exactly the same thing as terrorism. Using violence to persuade people not to vote a certain way or have certain political views. I myself may absolutely find everything Donald Trump stands for to be abhorrent. I may think that J.D. Vance is a disgusting, misogynist pig. But I would never wish for them to be shot or killed. So here's the thing. If you watch my channel and you're a supporter of my channel and you support political violence, get to stepping. Because we don't support that here. I want to make that very clear. We do our talking at the ballot box. We make sure we get to the ballot box. We make sure we vote in such big numbers that nobody can even think that there was any improprieties. We show up to that ballot box in November, not with sympathy for Donald Trump, but for wanting to protect our republic from Donald Trump. But we do that at the ballot box. That said, thank you for watching. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you down the road.